Bliss, love, and lavender. My beautiful royal family. I'm Nubia K. Sade, and I'm in the business of helping women just like you perform in peak state using your feminine energy. The other day, I got asked a question that I'm asked very often. So they said, Nubia, when I look at you, I see an embodiment of feminine energy. But like, how do you do it? How do you play all the roles that you play, live the life that you live, and existing amongst times where it can be very easy to lean inward to masculine energy? Like, how do you do it? And so, this question about embodiment comes up way more than just tapping into your feminine energy because see, if you're watching this right now, you know that there's a part of you that is very, very high vibrational. There's a part of you that is authentic and just expressive and just unique. There's a part of you that always wants to put on her best. There's a part of you that you're very proud of. And we as women, we want to always showcase that version of ourselves. In the way we show up in our relationships, we want to showcase that version of ourselves in the way we communicate our needs. We want to show that version of ourselves when we are parenting our children. We want to show up as that version of ourselves all the time. Now, the issue is not understanding how to embody that version of ourselves. And so we try to do a lot of things to keep us in that state. And, we try to listen to certain type of music, or we try to remind ourselves via images of what it's supposed to look like. We try to listen to motivational speeches and, even watching how-to videos like this, or what to or why to videos like this. Like, we do our best to immerse ourselves in the ideal and the concept of femininity, of being soft, of being more of a woman. But what I find is it's less about understanding the information and it's more about the actual implementation and the integration. Here's the truth about femininity. Femininity is so multidimensional. So it doesn't look one way. And that's the misconception when women go through a setback, a breakup, a transformation in business or in life or in career or with children, becoming a mom, losing a parent, or healing from something, getting engaged, getting divorced, getting married, having children, all of the different roles that we play as women. When it's time for that woman to take a transformative journey inward, immediately we're thinking about the wardrobe. Okay, I need to wear more pink. I need to speak more softly. Okay, I need to maybe drink a little bit more wine to keep me in a more sensational, sensual vibe. We start to think of all these things we can do and less of who we can be. So this brings me to my very first point and my very first, you can call it tip, with embodying your feminine energy. So this virtual background is just, why is it doing this to my hair? Because my hair is herring. But anyway, so, if you're watching this right now and you've been on this journey with me, or you just got on this journey with me, you're just finding me and you're like, who's this woman talking about femininity? Well, my name is Nubia Kamisha Sade. Nubia was a name I gave to myself, I would say after about a year in my spiritual journey. And Nubia means gold in the Kemetic language. And it also means ancient beauty. Something that people have always complimented me on and really showed me what my value was in their life was the way I extend my beauty and expand and radiate my beauty from the inside out. And I thought that was a very, very fitting name for me because not only does Nubia represent like the goddess, right? The empress, the princess, the queen, but Nubia also represents gold. It represents reflecting, something shiny, something of delight. And I pride myself in always ensuring that no matter who it is that I'm speaking with, no matter if it's a client, no matter if it's a family member, a lover, someone in the store, I always want to reflect and showcase the beauty of light, the beauty of something that brightens your day, that shines. So that's where the name came from. And so, in my life, I have seen the magic and the power of the evolution of a woman when she embodies her feminine energy. In fact, growing up, I was a beautician. Okay, by trade, I'm a braider. When I tell you I can braid some hair, I can braid some hair. In fact, growing up, I would say about around the age of 7, I started doing my own hair, learning how to put the barrettes on my hair, twisting, braiding, parting. I mean, I got really, really good at it. And actually, I was on YouTube at this time, learning how to do different designs and freestyles and parting. And I started getting a feel for braiding my own hair. It went from single braids to scalp braids to box braids. And I fell in love with creating my own hairstyles. I fell in love with being able to see something in my mind and then see it materialize same day. That was like a thing for me. And so as I, braided my hair, my mother, she was just like, oh, well, I don't have to braid her hair anymore, right? In her mind, she's like, oh, she got it. Like, this is good. So I found so much joy in being able to express my creative energy using my hands, using my brain, using my natural skill that I started to develop even more. And it became this passionate activity that I would do. I found it adorning. I found it as an act of self love that I now know to be self love. Back then, I didn't know what any of that meant, but I did know how it made me feel. So, starting off, before I knew anything about being a woman, being a young woman, I began to express my creative energy. So I got so good at this. I mean, I was really, really good at this thing. Okay. I was started getting really good at the braiding. And then one day I did my friend's hair and she loved it. She then called me the next day and said, my aunt want to know, can you do her hair? So I began to do her aunt's hair, then her mom, and then all my friends in elementary school, excuse me, middle school, and then so on and so on. And it grew and grew and grew. I started really, really becoming really popular with this braiding thing. I mean, like, it was getting good. Okay. So I moved into a different few salons and then moved into some salon suites, got my own suite, and then I started teaching this thing called hair. Right? I started teaching braiding classes, and again, this is me using my creative energy, right, to make women feel beautiful. Now, the most fascinating thing about this journey as a beautician, as a hairstylist, as a braider was that I was able to hear the problems that women were facing. And here's the thing, when you go get your hair done, you know it is time for some therapy. It's time to express yourself. It's time to maybe vent. It's time to talk through something that's been on your mind. And this is where us women, we begin to escape into what we see for ourselves. Because guess what? We're getting beautified on the outside, and that leaves us opportunity to get beautified on the inside. And we do this through what? Talk therapy, right? So I learned at a very early age that I had a really big container for emotions. I had a really big container to hold space for people. And I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed when a woman would come in to the salon and she was in the chair and I could feel her energy. I could feel she's tense, she's going through something. And so I found it as an opportunity to open this woman up and get her to speak, right, and express herself, and just simply cultivating that space for women to be able to express themselves and just speak on what they feel, what they're going through. It created a very, like, a very fulfilling career for me. It was very fulfilling because, yes, I was really great at what I did. The women were feeling very, very beautiful. But I had this sense of like, oh, this is impactful on a deeper level. So I would find that my clients would consistently come back and come back and come back and come back again. And what they would do is they would compliment me over and over and over on not just how long their hair would last, not just how pretty it was and how many compliments they got, but they would tell me, after talking with you, I made changes. After talking with you, I think of things differently now. After talking with you, I feel so much better about this certain situation. And for me, it just made my heart smile so much because I'm like, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it and looking back at it, I was never shocked that my advice worked. It just always felt like water, like fluid, like natural. And so, from the years and the years and the years of sharpening my skill and getting certified and learning all these different things, I started teaching other women how to braid. And so I would cultivate these braiding experiences. They were braiding classes, but you would learn three different types of braids in addition to mindset and personal development, like transformation at the same time. So I remember still to this day, like doing a braiding class where I believe it was like seven women. And I remember putting on affirmational music for the first time. None of these women knew about affirmational music, but for the first time, they were able to hear music that sound empowering and inspirational. And so I could see the change in their body language. And even when I'm coaching them through the different braiding techniques and they're getting hung up on certain things, they're able to be backed up with this affirmational music on confidence and persistence and owning your skills, owning your gifts, owning your talents. And I just felt so alive. So I moved to from New York, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, about 2019, and this is where I continued my skill and my craft and my braiding classes and these braiding experiences. And so women would consistently, I'm talking, I had all different type of clients. So I had doctors, lawyers, I had musicians, I had dancers, if you know anything about Atlanta, Georgia, you know that it is the Black Mecca where a lot of talent resides. People come to Atlanta to experience Black Hollywood, and they usually are successful in their endeavors because there's a lot of people in high places that are Black, African American, who can be able to put them in positions to showcase their talents, their gifts, and their strengths. And I found it magnificent that I was meeting all of these incredibly talented people, talented women specifically, and they would come into the container in my space, be it I was doing hair inside of the living room, and then I transitioned and I got a place where I cultivated a salon inside of the room. So I did the backdrop and I had the ring light and I got some salon chairs, and I really just cultivated the space again using my creative energy. So cultivated the space, and it really was a beautiful vibe. So then, as I'm giving women advice and they're coming, they're like, hey, when I come here, I'm taking off my human clothes and I'm taking off of my celebrity clothes or whatever clothes they had. I've done celebrity hair, and they say, I'm human. I'm taking off those clothes and that identity, and I'm here with you, and I'm talking with you, and I'm present with you, and you make me feel like everything is going to be okay. Probably the same type of feelings that you would get if you had a therapist, right? But these women were getting therapy in addition to a hairstyle that will last them months at a time, weeks at a time. They were getting a really good deal, but I loved it. I enjoyed it. It made me feel so fulfilled. So after clients are begging me, asking me, pleading me, can you be my life coach? Like, can you coach me? Can you be my counselor? I believe they were calling it counselor, and I never really resonated with it because I'm just, to me, it was just so natural to do what I was doing. For me, it was just natural. Like, no, I've been doing this since I do this for my friends, I do this for my family. I coach people, I create space for people, I give people advice. This is a part of my character, it's a part of who I am. You talking about paying me to do this? That doesn't what? What do you mean? No, girl, you good. Like, no, girl, you my girl. You my girl, I got you. No, no problem. However, these women kept asking me, I mean, listen, I will pay you. I just want to, be able to talk with you. Like, oh my gosh, they would get their hair done. And then I remember I had this one client, she got her braids done. And then about a week later, she texted me. She said, can I come in again? I said, is everything good with your hair? Because these styles last a long time. She said, well, you know what? Everything's good with my hair, but I really just want to talk to you. I'll take it out. I'll pay you. I just want to talk to you. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is really becoming a I believe what God was showing me at the time, just a revelation to showcase to me the direction that I want you to go in is exactly where you've been. It's time to just refine it and make it a thing. Like, this is permission and make it a thing. I didn't know personal development was a thing. I didn't know coaching was a thing. I didn't know a motivational speaking was a thing. I didn't know femininity coaching was a thing, right? But then I began to quest on YouTube. Okay, this is turning into my life story, but this is very relevant for you to know. So that way you can learn more about me and you can see how and why, I'm so passionate about what I do, right? So I feel like at that time, God was just telling me, like, yeah, 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 yeah. I want you to make this a thing. So I started going online, I started going on YouTube, I started really learning more about the personal development industry. And then I found like this is a thing. Okay, my first like awakening with understanding how the business of coaching worked was with Tony Robbins. Like, I started listening to his concepts, his philosophies, his work, and I'm just like, this is everything I say. I didn't know that I was teaching through and using techniques of NLP. I didn't know that I was using techniques of like subconscious mind versus conscious mind, and that lingo was so new to me, but it felt like home to me. It felt very comfortable. It felt like, yeah, this is something I could teach, coach, provide transformation for the rest of my life. This feels like home. This feels certain. I feel confident about this, right? And so I moved into coaching. I moved into coaching and it was, oh my gosh, such a journey. And I mean, I'm still to this day in awe about the transformations that I see happen right in front of my face. So I say that I'm in a business of helping women get into peak states because I do just that. And see, as women, we get into peak state a little bit more differently than a man. See, a woman who is in a transformation in the midst of a change, a shift, a pivot in her life, she need not to go outward and to try to change the situation. Her journey is the feminine journey. A woman's journey is the feminine journey. And the feminine journey is an inward journey of transformation. So the masculine journey is to go out and to conquer. So to go out and to conquer. And when you go out and conquer, the masculine is feeling joyous, it's feeling successful, it's feeling like, yes, I did it. I went outside of myself and I went to go conquer, right? That's the masculine journey. Well, the feminine journey is the journey of inward transformation. And so when a woman decides to go inward, she develops her femininity. And so here we are years later, and this peak state that I'm talking about is when you feel so confident, where you feel alive, where you feel what I call large and in charge, where you feel like to your core, you can be anything. You can transform, you can adapt, you can be fluid, you can be flexible, which is all what femininity is and feminine energy is. You can be the expression that God wants you to be, right? Which is what femininity is. You can be creative and use your creative energy to cultivate businesses, to create a personal brand for yourself, to, live in the life and design the life that you desire. This brings me back to the question, how do you embody your feminine energy and not to just perform your feminine energy, but to be an embodiment? Like when someone sees you, they're like, oh my goodness, this woman is so feminine. How do you do that? Well, three things. Number one, authenticity. It is so very much so important to ensure that you understand the depth of your uniqueness. I remember having a client come to me and she asked me, she said, I have beautiful parts of myself, she said, but like the not so beautiful parts, like the parts that I'm like low key ashamed of, how do I get rid of those parts of me? I remember her asking me that because she was convinced that she needed to change every part of her that wasn't polished and that wasn't pearly, because that's what she deemed femininity was based on what she knew. I began to express to her, show her, coach her through the ideal, the concept, and the reality that self-love is not about loving all the beautiful parts of yourself and doing everything you can to eliminate the not so beautiful parts of yourself. Self-love is taking everything that you are, all your character traits, your habits, how you show up, laying it out on a table, and then rocking with it. See, the same thing that makes someone very creative and expressive, that same trait on the not so productive end, that can be the same trait that makes someone procrastinate, overthink, and be very unorganized. You can have a trait, maybe you have a trait where you're highly ambitious, you're an overachiever. Well, you may never really struggle with accomplishing your goals, but you may have difficulties, emotionally, where you tend to burn out because you have the identity that I'm an overachiever and this is who I am. So, and all that what we are and all that we are, it's not a matter of changing all the bad things or the not so pretty things. It's about understanding how they all work together and how to integrate them. I had a client the other day. She said, oh, I apologize if I'm getting too dreamy and too woo-woo, because she was explaining something to me that she wanted me to know so I can help her solve a problem. I said, dreamy and woo-woo is who you are. And if that's how you translate and articulate the thoughts in your mind, do that. So often we're put in spaces, relationships, or even environments that picks on our authenticity, that does not celebrate our uniqueness. In fact, it's inspired and directed more to conform, to look one way and to be one way. And so with that conformity, sometimes we suppress the uniqueness about us and we think that it's something that we got to tuck away because we want to protect it. We want to protect our uniqueness. We don't want nobody clowning us, making us feel shameful or guilty. So we want to protect it. And so femininity is authenticity. How well can you be who you are to your core? And what does that mean, who you are to your core? It means being okay with how you choose to express who you are. Now, when a woman is embodied, She is super authentic. And this is what makes her compelling because when a woman is authentic and when you are in your authenticity, there is no resistance to your energy field. There's no resistance to the way you're showing up. So it's compelling, it's charismatic, and it's sensationally activating. So I am rather sophisticated in the way I show up, but I'm also very, very in tune with my Caribbean nature. So I love me some reggae. I will dirty wine. Okay. I will dance. Okay. Like I am in Montego Bay. Okay. But I'm also a very, very soft, gentle parent who loves the development and the psychology of a child. So I have a lot of patience for children. So I have this deep mothering gene about myself that's very compassionate, nourishing, and nurturing. I also was born and raised in northern New York. So I know how to move and shake and be witty and gritty like a New Yorker. I know how to navigate my way through conversations. And I also know how to articulate myself out of manipulation. I can be a strategist. I can be a singer. Most times I'm a dancer. Sometimes I'm a coach. What I learned was that all of the elements that make me me don't have to compete with each other. In fact, it is so satisfying when they complement each other and they integrate with each other. So I say that to say, when you are authentic and you're showing up in your uniqueness and not thinking of comparing yourself to another woman and how she shows up, or comparing yourself to your past, or even thinking about who's judging you and who's going to say what and what are they going to think and all of these things, you put blockages and blockages and blockages on your ability to express your true nature. So, number one, how do you embody feminine energy? Well, authenticity. Number two, intentional moments of expression. So, again, I love to dance. Okay. Dancing is a way of expressing yourself, especially as a woman. We hold a lot of tension in our hips, in our hip area. So when we dance, and even if you understand the history of twerking or of, shaking our rumps, that was all energetic release. Okay, it was celebratory, so it was for celebration and it was also for release because even our ancestors knew shaking and moving the hips in the bottom half of our body, which is our root chakra, removes stagnant energy and then calls in the energy that we want to feel. So, moments of expression. I cultivated a signature dance called the Feminine Dance Therapy. And this is where we actually go through a series of sensual dance as you're integrating color therapy, you're integrating your subconscious mind, you're also integrating various feminine archetypes. This is to engage your emotional body with your physical body so the two can marry as powerful, mindful movement. So I would say number two, intentional moments of expression. Also, if you like music, right? And let's say you write, do poetry, sing, rap, or let's say you just like to hum. If you put on some instrumentals while you're cooking, cleaning, doing your thing, you'll find that you'll start creating music in your mind, even if there are no lyrics to the music. This is the reason why I say instrumentals. I do that very often. And you know what I find? I find myself being able to write a whole song, freestyle a whole song, right? Because I'm usually multitasking. This activates a creative spark in my mind that opens me up to expand my capacity in business. So I'm no longer decision fatigue. It expands me up to brighten my mood. I just feel so radiant and I feel saucy and sassy at the same time because I'm like, I am so talented. This comes from me being intentional about opening up spaces for me to express myself. In addition, speaking and articulating yourself, right? Having relationships that actually inspires you and motivates you to open up. Being able to have relationships where you commune together and you express ideals or you express how you feel or you express, whatever it is that you want to express. Excuse excuse me. Intentional moments of expression. So I find time in the day, not even find time, because we don't have to find something that is available to us. But I prioritize time in the day to move and to cultivate a party for myself. Well, why is that? Well, when I intentionally make that time and space to move, I feel less bottled up. The opposite of expression is suppression. And so I remember being a partner in this amazing coaching program. I was an auxiliary coach for another coach's program, specifically helping women eliminate the pain and the symptoms of fibroids. And I remember being the emotional regrounding coach and on these calls where I would help these women get down to the core of what the emotional suppression was inside of their life, I would find that the women were able to target the time when they started growing the fibroids in relation to the time where they started to suppress something that they felt or an unprocessed traumatic experience or an unprocessed emotion. And what happened was because the emotion and the energy was suppressed and there was no outlet for it, the body started to fiber the emotion and the energy manifesting into physical fibroids. Oftentimes, women don't realize when you suppress your emotions, they don't just go away, they find space inside of your body. So, I talk about intentional spaces to create, excuse me, to express, intentional spaces to express, because when you have these intentional spaces to express, you have opportunities to release stress, unprocessed emotion, any bottled up emotions, and anything it is that you need to release. Emotions are supposed to flow through you. Femininity is very fluid and flexible. So when you think of movement, think of maybe like three or four emotions that have been sitting at the bottom of your root chakra for the past few days. You didn't know that they're there, but they maybe been triggered by something or maybe just surfaced up, right? When you intentionally move your body, you're moving that energy around and it has the opportunity to dissipate. But it's an intentional act and it's very mindful. You have to engage your emotions in order to get the result. So, intentional spaces to express. I will also say this. I provide intentional spaces to express, and then I also receive, which means that I experience intentional spaces to express. So this looks like Zumba classes, this looks like yoga classes, this looks like different classes that puts me in that creative energy for me to express myself. So, as a coach, I always love to ensure that what I am doing and what I'm experiencing, I can teach it to other women with my flair. So, I created feminine dance therapy classes, programs, workshops. I've hosted the feminine dance therapy at several workshops and retreats, and it's always like the favorite because when you engage the mind and the heart and the body and the emotion and the energy, the harmony that's created, chef's kiss, and you feel embodied in your feminine energy as a second nature type of feel versus something that you have to think about doing or think about being. This translate in the way you handle and you deal and you navigate through relationships. This, just shows up in the way you articulate yourself. This shows up in the rooms that you walk in. This shows all on you. So when you have these moments of expression, you are not walking around bottled, which means that you're less tense, which means that you're more confident, you're more present, and you're more of a pleasure to experience. So here's the key: we don't do life, we feel life. And so if you think about when you dance or when you move or when you express yourself or when you put on that instrumental and you're just singing, or when you maybe not braid, excuse me, knit or sew or do something with your hands, or just something that shows expression. A lot of us like to cook. A lot of us, we get in that kitchen and we do our thing, right? That's even expression. I know for me, cooking is extremely therapeutic, especially being plant-based and really identifying recipes and things that can help my food taste better, right? Because I'm not just eating grass all day. No, I want to curry my chickpeas. I want to jerk my mushrooms, you see? So for me, cooking is therapeutic, and it's also another way to express. And if I fill up my day with moments of expression, my day feels like that expression. It feels like I'm living. I feel present. I feel sensational. And in turn, I come across as an embodiment of feminine energy. This looks like me being who I am. And this looks like me having intentional spaces and intentional times to express myself. So I'm light, I'm fluid, right? And I have a feeling of presence. I have a presence about myself. So that's number two. And then number three, this is the third way that you are going to be able to come from an embodied feminine space and feminine energy. Okay, I have a dress on, it's a little low cut, but I do have on something So number three, prioritize play, passion, and pleasure. Okay, let's get very, very clear. Prioritize and play. Be more curious, have more fun, and laugh more. Don't take things personally and have more fun. Do more kiddie things. If you are an adult, go to the trampoline park and jump. I think it's one of the most easiest way to get into a state of joy, jumping. Another form of play. Play in your hair as if you are a little girl. Okay? Put ponytails in your hair, just play in your hair. Right? Another form of play, again, more silly dancing. Like, I have the beautiful pleasure of being a mother to an incredible 6-year-old Pisces who is one of the most expressive little children I've ever seen in my life. So she helps me play more, right? But if you don't have any children or you don't have access to any nieces or nephews or any little humans that remind us how to actually live life, right? Play as if you are a kid again. So play. Playing is going to keep you feeling the energy of the maiden, very lighthearted, very unaffected, very in the moment, inquisitive, curious. That's what play is going to do for you. Let's talk about passion. Understanding what you deem passion, like what you're passionate about, I was gonna say what you deem passionable. Right? Understanding what it is that you're passionate about and prioritizing that thing, right? Again, I'm very passionate about dancing. I'm very passionate about moving my body in a way where I feel like I'm stretching in addition to like at a house party, in addition to like working out, in addition to like feeling fun and confident and showcasing my fierceness. Like I love the feel that it gives me. So I prioritize dance. And you know what? If you're having a really busy day, or maybe your life is really busy, Walmart or Kroger or Whole Foods or the gym, they just gonna have to get a little bit of two-step in from you because guess what? We're prioritizing passion and the things that you're passionate about, right? So if you're passionate about, let's say you're passionate about women's rights or you're passionate about making sure things are fair, prioritize that. Prioritize speaking up. Prioritize putting yourself in the position where you're passionate, right? For me, I get very, very passionate about women having standards that are in alignment with the life that they want to create for themselves. I'm very passionate about women living their life by design because I believe that's where passion comes from, your beliefs and what you believe to be true. So I believe that women should have the world. Yeah, that's what I believe, right? So when I'm coaching and when I'm teaching women about femininity and I'm helping a woman get into peak state, that passion makes me feel so alive more than it would if I was doing something I wasn't so passionate about. So maybe your passion isn't necessarily in your career or your business, but you're passionate about different causes. Like be intentional and prioritize making sure that you are meeting with that passion daily. You're meeting with it, you're writing about it, you're reading on it, you're watching YouTube videos on it. You're activating that sense of passion so that way you can meet with fulfilling moments, and moments create our life. If you look at life, life is just an accumulation and a compilation of moments. We as humans put hours, minutes, weeks, days, and months to time, right? However, the truth is, we just have moments and they're just compiled moments. So, if you want a better life, have better moments. If you want a more sensational life, have more sensational moments. And then, last but not least, I mean, pleasure. Pleasure. You know, knowing what makes you feel good. Knowing what makes you feel good. You know what I really, really, really enjoy? I enjoy immersive steam. I enjoy immersive heat. I love me a sauna. I love me a sunshine. I remember living in Mexico and I would bake in that sun and people would run away from it. They're like, "Oh, I'm going in the house. I'm in that sun." And I remember doing that as a little girl. After we would have the water balloon fights, I would lay my towel out on the sidewalk and I would just sit in the sun and just bake in the sun. So for me, heat is therapy and heat is where I feel the most pleasure in my body. So I prioritize going to the sauna. If the sauna is not available, I'm going to get me a hot shower. So I prioritize hot shower. I take it steps further to enhance the experience, like having an additional shower head, or if you're in the sauna, if I'm in the sauna, having something that activates that freshness about heat. So maybe like a peppermint oil on my nose, or maybe like having longer sleeve clothing so I can really get that, like level that heat up all the way, like get that sweat going, you know? But again, that's what makes me feel good inside of my body. So since I know what moves me, I know how to put myself in positions to feel that pleasure. I know how to give myself that pleasure. And I also know how to articulate that pleasure as well. So when you lean into your pleasure, you can articulate your pleasure better. So that way you can stay in that state of pleasure more than not. I believe that, yes, life, we're going to experience things and we're going to experience maybe not so happy things sometimes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Understood. But I believe you should have way more good moments and way more moments that feel good than not. So, if you have been through any type of trauma in your life, or if you have experienced heartbreak, or you find yourself in very painful patterns, or you're in the midst of a breakthrough, or you're suffering from loss, or your confidence has been gone for a very long time, or you just became a mother and your identity has just gone out the window, and you're trying to find out how to pick up the pieces in your life, or you are in a relationship where you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you're feeling unappreciated, or you just ascended in leadership role at your job, and you're trying to figure out how you're now going to lead this team that apparently does not appreciate or respect you, or you just started a business and you are wanting to be the woman that you see for yourself, but you keep getting distracted, or you're having the imposter syndrome, or wherever you are in your life right now. I want you to know you have the ability to change the way you're showing up and have that feminine embodiment that's going to lead to more influence, which is going to impact the way you do business, or how influential and impactful you are with your team or your organization or in business. When you embody your feminine energy, right, it's going to enhance the way you're able to communicate with others and articulate yourself, because you're going to use feminine communication, right? Instead of just regular communication, you're going to use feminine communication. Right. And then also with feminine leadership, you're going to learn how to lead yourself first. And this has a lot to do with rewiring and reparenting yourself. So, feminine leadership, okay, understanding how to lead yourself, and then easily making a smooth integration with leadership of others. See, oftentimes in leadership, we think leadership is how well you can dictate a person or how well you can control somebody else. That is not leadership. Leadership is actually how well can you submit and be submissive to the core values that's going to move the experience and move the collective forward. Two different things. One is trying to manipulate, control, overpower, and dominate your way into success through that type of leadership. But feminine leadership is communal, it is long lasting, and it has this delicious feeling and sensation of birth and life. So, this energy is inspiring, it's enthusiasm, it's joy, it's satisfaction. It's delicioso. Yeah. So those are the three things that helps me stay embodied in my feminine energy. I am affirming this video was helpful for you. Feel free to, in the comments, tell me what was it that clicked for you while listening to this. What was it that you now see or you now feel, based on what we were able to talk about today? Like, what is it that you're now going to do in your life, right? Because again, in all of what we are, we don't do life, we feel life. And so remember, number one, be authentic. Number two, cultivate intentional spaces to express yourself. And number three, prioritize play, passion, and pleasure. Listen, so excited to announce the Feminine Leadership Retreat in Dubai, April 24th through the 29th, this year, 2025. See, I cultivated this experience with the woman in mind who is knowing that she is a thought leader, like you're a thought leader, and you didn't know you were a thought leader because it was so normal to you, what you do, who you are, how you live your life, the example that you are, right? But you're ready to materialize your thought leadership, right? You're ready to ascend on levels and get the recognition that you truly deserve. Like you're ready to write that book. You're ready to be that author, right? You're ready to write that book, right? You're ready to communicate way differently. You're ready to start seeing results when you communicate. You're ready to start expressing yourself to your social circle, to your romantic partner, to your family in a way where they feel you, they see you, they hear you, right? And you're getting the change that you desire, or you're getting the recognition and the acknowledgement that you desire, or you're getting the cooperation that you desire, right? You want to become a high level communicator. You're also watching this video, right? And you're like, you know what? Yes, I'm a leader by my nature. Yes, I'm ready to write that book. Yes, I'm ready to get that recognition. You know what? Yes, I'm ready to become a high level communicator so that way I can always use that powerful tool to move the experience forward in my most favorable outcome. Yes, I want to learn how to integrate all the parts of me so I don't feel like I have to cheat on this version of me with this version of me, or I don't have to feel like this version of me is in conflict with this other version of me, or I don't have to feel like I have to be a savage or a hopeless romantic or lean into this title that was given to me. I want to learn how to integrate and put all the different versions of me back into my body and harmonize the way they show up for each other so that way I can always operate in a place that I'm proud of. And when it's time for me to be in peak state, I know how to get into peak state. I know how to perform. I know how to walk into that room and own that room. I know how to pitch and propose to that investor, right? I know how to navigate this conflict that's happening between my child and another child, and the mom and the mother is not the most easiest to get along with, right? I know how to do this. I know how to move in a room full of vultures, right? I know how to show up. I know how to be in peak state. Why? Because I've integrated all the different parts of me. I have intentional moments of expression. I know how to communicate effectively, and I am authentic in my way of being, which translate as me being fierce, as me being bold, as me being audacious, and as me being the exception to every rule. So I can have it all. Life by design is the life that you know that you want to create for yourself. This retreat in April 2025, 24th through the 29th is specifically designed for you. Listen, if you are ready to change your environment, you're ready to switch it up, you're ready to get in that luxury vibe, right? You are ready to be amongst women who are in the same frequency, actively reinventing themselves, right? You are ready to, again, materialize your thought leadership, right? You are ready to learn all the tools that you need in order to become a higher level 2.0 version of yourself, not just by theory, not just by thought, not just by binge watching a bunch of YouTube videos, but by actual integration in person. The Feminine Leadership Retreat is the retreat you want to come to, okay? Dubai is going to transform the way you think about everything, right? In addition to cultivating an incredible sisterhood that's going to support you every step of the way on your journey, in addition to going back home a more evolved, sophisticated, seductive, high level leader that you are. I am affirming this video did exactly what it was supposed to do. Subscribe to this channel if you are on your feminine journey and you want to stay immersed in the energy and the feel of embodiment, so that way you don't have to feel like you're faking anything, but you feel authentic, you feel unique, and you feel like there's a harmony inside of your life. Subscribe to this channel, turn on your notifications, drop a comment down below, let me know where you are tuning in from, like this video, and on I will see you in Dubai. Happy B. Click the link in my bio to learn more about the retreat. Yeah, that's what I want to say. If you want to learn more about the retreat in Dubai, click the link in the bio or click the link right below in this video in the description. I'll put my link tree there. It'll have the opportunity for you to click the link and book a call to learn more about the Feminine Leadership Retreat. We'll talk logistics, we'll talk numbers, we'll talk where you are, and we'll get you on your way. We'll get you nice and ready and on your way and present April 24th through the 29th in Dubai, the UAE. All right, family, this has been incredible. I'll see you again on the next video. Until then, like my mother always say, be good to yourself.